Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, Karen wants what I have in my shopping cart. Asking if my fiancé would leave me while I was in labor at the hospital so she could pick up an item we had for sale. Entitled customer gave me extra rest time. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Karen wants what I have in my shopping cart. Today, I went shopping at a Members Warehouse store. I was in line waiting to check out, and this total stranger of a woman asks me about an item I have in my shopping cart, breakfast bars that my husband really likes. I tell that they are good and my husband's favorite. She says she is going to get them, so I start to tell her where they are located in the store. She says, "Well, since you know where they are, I will just take these and you can go get some more." I tell her no, you aren't taking those, and just as I tell her that, the person who helps expedite the checkout process comes up and starts to get all the barcodes turned up right. The Karen tells her that she is getting my breakfast bars. And I say no again. The employee directs her to where she can get her own box, and Karen literally stomps her foot and says, "Why can't I have these?" The employee tells her because they're in my cart and I am checking out now. The employee did have someone come over and take Karen to where the breakfast bars were located. I did get the employee's name and I left her a positive review on the website. I will never understand why people are so oblivious to the fact that they're not owed anything. It baffles me and probably others. And you can't argue with them because they'll always feel like they're right. People who do things like that have to be a little insane. Would love to see another customer take the last crackers as she arrives at the breakfast aisle. A long time ago, one of my friends was shopping at the commissary on a military base. A woman came up and took an item from friend's cart and placed it in her own. Friend confronted her and took it back, and the woman flipped out. She started screaming, "What rank is your husband?" Friend told her last time she checked their dependent ID cards were the same color. Woman screamed about husband's rank over and over. He, of course, was a high-ranking officer. It escalated to the point of the military police showing up, and friend got her item and went off on her merry way. I'm pretty sure she said it was a loaf of bread. Bet her hubby was happy. It's my understanding that it is frowned upon to try to use your spouse's rank to get special treatment. Can anyone with military experience affirm or deny this? My goodness, that was the Karen of Karen's mine. She has some nerve. People are getting worse and worse. Once I was at a discount store and was buying elephant figurines that I collect for my elephant room. This one lady looked over at my cart and said something in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, and her kids looked over at my cart, and then one of them picked one up and was trying to hand it to his mom when they thought I wasn't looking, but I did, and took it out of kid's hands and told him in a way, "Shh, it's mine." The mother looked at me and said like I had done something wrong. Some of the things they have either in limited amounts or have sold out. This is where I wish I could just tell the associate, "Can you help this person? I think she has dementia and doesn't understand what's going on. She's asking questions that don't make sense, maybe page somebody?" I was a warehouse store famous for rotisserie chicken. I had chicken in my cart, but there were no more quite ready. Man said less than 10 minutes. So I'm looking at ready-made meals with my child in the cart. Lady comes over, sees there are no chickens, reaches into my cart, takes my chicken and transfers it to her cart and walks off. I'm speechless. Guy behind counter is yelling at her. I said, "Let it go. I didn't want chicken." She had her hands all over it, and I don't deal with crazy people. Guy behind counter called manager and I got a free chicken, but still can't believe it happened. Crazy people like warehouse stores. Ugh, I hope there was none left when she got there. Yeah, right, she wanted your food and your place in the queue. Nope. Asking if my fiancé would leave me while I was in labor at the hospital so she could pick up an item we had for sale. I've been trying to sell this miniature, portable washing machine on Facebook Marketplace for a few weeks. A woman we did not know at all inquired about it, and after we agreed on a price, she said the only day she could come pick it up was Monday. I told her that I am 39 weeks pregnant and that I would be induced for labor on Monday morning, but that she was welcome to come pretty much any other time. She insisted she could only do Monday as she had another appointment in town that day. I apologized and told her I had to be at the hospital to have my baby. She then proceeded to send me multiple messages back to back asking if my fiancé could leave me alone at the hospital while I am in labor with our child to meet her at my house so she could pick up the washer. I finally asked her if she was really suggesting he leave me alone during the birth of our first child just so that she could pick this item up, and she got very huffy and said she didn't want the washer anyways. Back at university, during a Christmas break, my parents were packing up the house to move to their new place in Florida. Myself, my brother, and his fiancée were going to show up over the break to help them pack up. En route, the fiancé had a highway accident. A bad one. Severe concussion, in the ICU screaming for days. My brother was glued to her side the whole time. I went on to help pack solo. Our parents were livid. Actual quite from mom to him, "What are you doing at that hospital? You aren't a doctor. Get over here and help us pack. Have a sense of priority." When that didn't work, she laid into me to convince him. By the way, she recovered. They have been happily married for several decades now. I think my brother plans to spell out "have a sense of priority" on mom's grave. In urine. On the other side of the family, dad was telling him to dump the fiancée before her hospital bills rang up. "Yeah, you should find a different buyer. Your fiancée being there with you while you're in delivery is way more important than her picking up a washing machine. Plus, if she has another appointment later on Monday, why does she have to pick it up only on Monday during the time of your delivery? Why can't she just pick it up Tuesday, Wednesday, etc.? Did she forget that there's other days of the week? She'd have to be paying enough to cover my child's future college tuition if she wanted me to be alone during labor." Wow. But I will say to definitely not give that kind of info with the next buyer. While reasonable people would be understanding, entitled people are gonna try to find ways to argue around your reasons. "Sorry, I'm not available that day" is a lot harder to work around. Also, now this random stranger knows when the house is going to be empty. I tell potential buyers that they can meet me in the parking lot of my local police station to pick the item/s up. If they're okay with it, great. But if they have an issue with it, I avoid further contact. First off, congrats on the baby. But I want to throw this out there: being induced can be a long process. They started my meds at 9 a.m. and I wasn't actually in labor until like 2 p.m. About 10:30 p.m. I was in enough pain to get a shot of Demerol, and my daughter was finally born at 11:06 p.m. There was a lot of downtime. I actually told her dad to go to work for a few hours early on because he was driving me crazy. I was hungry, thirsty, crabby, and just not up to keeping him entertained before the action started. I've gotten quick to just block people at the first whiff of bad behavior. It's extreme for sure, but I've just endured way too much from abusive people. It's survival at this point. People like this seem to literally feed off of our reactions, monopolizing our time and attention, stressing us out with their wild demands and bad behavior. At times it feels like some kind of fetish for them. The fact that people like this exist make me want to chuck myself out of a window sometimes. Preferably on the first floor, mind you. Hey, at least she was going to pick up. She could have asked for delivery, as he was ready for a delivery that day already. Entitled customer gave me extra rest time. I, F19, have been working as a cashier at my local grocery store for the last 1.5 years. It's part of a big retail chain, but I work at our smallest branch. I arrived to my Friday shift a couple of weeks back at 8:45 as per usual. I like to come in early, get the register all fixed up and clean up everything, so as to relieve some stress from my incredibly busy co-workers, which I will no longer do since my managers refused to pay me those extra 15 minutes, apparently. I had just done a 2-part shift the day prior, came in 8 to 13, then 16 to 21, and I was exhausted, but I need the money. Whenever people came to my line, I told them that I am currently closed, and they went on their merry way. Most of my customers are usually very understanding. Besides for this one customer. Our entitled customer of the story. Our conversation went as follows. Me. EC, entitled customer. I'm closed. EC, I'll wait. Starts putting things on the conveyor belt. Sir, this will likely take a few minutes. EC, I said I'll wait. Please don't, I don't like having customers in my line when I open. EC, I said I'll wait. I was exhausted at this point, considering the 2-part shift I just barely finished the night prior. Angrily, please get off my back. EC, well, I'll be more than glad to inform your manager of how long it takes you to open up your register. Looks at watch. Well, look at the time. It is currently 8:50 and I actually have 10 more minutes before my shift starts. Bye-bye. And I up and left with a huge smile on my face. He was shocked, watching me grab myself a snack and go talk on the phone with my boyfriend. He did end up in my checkout lane later that day, but I refused to exchange a word with him. Not the most satisfying story, but I felt like sharing. Don't work off the clock. Ever. I agree. I worked in a grocery store when I was in my teens to early 20s. My manager told me I had to be present 15 minutes before opening and cleaning the checkout and register before my shift. I asked if I would be paid to show up at 6:45. He said my shift started at 7, so I wouldn't get paid before that time. So I came in at 7. He said I had to be done getting changed and clock in at 7, so I came in at 6:59 already dressed and clocked in at 7 on the dot. I did not make enough money to be giving away my time for free. Don't pay attention to the other comments. The guy was rude and entitled. Coming off a split shift, you were already tired. We are only human and cannot be perfect all the time. You are doing great. OMG, I don't understand why you guys are siding with the EC. Have you ever been to a store where it's obvious the register isn't open? Have you insisted on placing your stuff anyway? I wouldn't do this in a million years. NTA op. Also, generally customers should not be around when opening or closing a till because the money has to be counted. And letting customers know how much money is in a till is a recipe for disaster. Like, the majority of customers won't care, but you have to be careful with that 1% who would use that information. I'm embarrassed just by the thought, TBH. Never work off the clock. If you're working off the clock and get hurt, then you are responsible for all your medical bills. Workman's comp won't do anything because you were off the clock. As someone who worked for a workers' comp insurance company, I can confirm this. There seem to be a lot of entitled customers in this comment section. Sheesh. Former cashier, I used to work in a very known Northeast US supermarket, and we used to have to block our lanes when closed because people would do that exact thing. You're not in the wrong at all, OP. Supermarket, put a barrier so that people know when it is open or closed and the symbol of the wrong way signal on it. Client, try to jump the signal. If it wasn't half a meter from the ground, they would try to play limbo with it. Come on, OP, don't listen to some people in the comments. You are in the right. If bro wants to wait for the next shift or whenever it will open, let him wait. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.